All right, good morning. Today is Friday, April 4th, 2025. I'm Anthony, and this is Drive Dive. To get right to it, I have a bit of a confession to make. But prior to that confession, I just wanted to thank folks like, there's a Tobias, there was a China, a Matthew Williams, Bam Burtis, right, a Pinhead Larry, just for commenting. Really, I do appreciate, the engagement. And, while I do and make these videos more for myself to feel productive during my long drive, the added bonus and benefit, right, is, if I can be of service to you, like I've said before, it's just the cherry on top. So I really do appreciate that. Now, to get to my confession, Bam asked, I hope I'm saying that correctly, but he asked me, I believe, as we're talking a little bit about how close we are to monetizing. I think he asked me that question, how close I am, and I'm really not very close, at all. And maybe when you look at my channel and the number of followers, or subscribers rather, but then you look at the number of views on each video, there's a discrepancy there, and that's my confession, right? Is, I got into this to want to feel more productive, but then I got into that whole oh man, could I actually monetize it, and what would that take? And doing a little bit of Google research, right? You stumble upon companies, right, offering this service of hey, for this amount of money, we guarantee you X number of subscribers, or there's a separate package that can guarantee a certain number of watch hours. And I will say, despite I think everything I believe about hard work and everything, I was oh man, is this what people do? Are there YouTubers out there who've built these channels by basically paying for subscribers and watch hours and engagements and all this stuff? And so I was let's give it a shot. What's the big deal? No harm, right? And so I did. I think I spent, probably somewhere around $50 or something. I'd have to look it up and figure out what the company was and how much they charged. But I think they reached out to me via LinkedIn. They found me, I guess, saw this video, I shared it on LinkedIn, and then they're reaching out to me as social media marketers and things, and here's what we can do for you. I'm all right, let's give it a shot. So I did, man. I paid $50 or so, and then I watched the number of subscribers grow. And that was fun and exciting, to see those stats in my analytics and whatnot. But after a short while, it really just dropped off. And, while it generated some subscribers and some views, they were really just really, really short views and didn't really contribute to the watch hours and all this other stuff. So now while I look at my analytics and, I may have met the requirement for the number of subscribers, I only have about 39 watch hours, and you need 3,000 or 4,000 total watch hours in order to monetize. And so I'm not close at all. And so I apologize sincerely. That's my confession. I did pay for these fake artificial subscribers as I've experimented, in these initial kind of, YouTube journey steps. And that was a major misstep. I mean, that's my confession. I apologize, for being misleading in that way, I guess. And, but it's also a public service announcement. Don't fall into that trap. I mean, there really is no substitute for hard work. There's no substitute for making a video every day or weekly, whatever your schedule allows, whatever your niche is, right? Whatever your topic, subject, the types of videos, if it requires more editing time, thumbnail creation, description, writing, production, whatever your work entails, your desired outcome and your work schedule allows, you have to embrace that grind, and you have to engage in that process and put out the content regularly, engage with your audience, reply to comments, give people shout outs. Right? If you really do want to monetize, if that's the goal, if that's the purpose, then it does take a lot of work. There's no substitute for that. So shame on me for thinking it was possible that other people were doing it, so let's just follow the crowd, right? Just all all these things that like I wouldn't normally do, I did do when it came to YouTube and this maybe, you know, secondary pursuit, I would say, of monetizing the channel, right? And so, I don't know, tying it back to just goal setting and, you know, identity and all. This is my primary goal, and I have to remind myself of this, as I guess most folks might have to do, right? Remind ourselves of our goals and who we are. You know, I'm not a dishonest person, first and foremost, right? So I sincerely apologize, you know, if any of that's misleading or has at least caused someone to believe that, right, in BAM thinks I'm close to monetizing. I'm not. So I you know, I do owe that person an apology. And then second, yeah, I mean, I guess, right, my primary goal here is just to feel more productive. It's not to monetize, you know, so, I mean, if that happens, great. But if it doesn't, I still feel more productive, and that's what it's all about. So, my confession is I don't really know. I don't have over 1,000 real subscribers. And so I would like to thank, again, you know, those folks like BAM, Pinhead Larry, Matt Williams, you know, for commenting and engaging with me and being real, right? Being actual real people, engaging with content, commenting down below. I do appreciate that. So if you can forgive me, you know, those are my real subscribers, right? Because the other piece of this is, like, BAM doesn't really know how many actual subscribers I have. I don't either, right? My analytics say I have over 1,000 people, but I'm not actually connected with 1,000 people. I would like to connect with you. So if you are watching this, if you are a real person, a real subscriber, please please give the video a like. And then maybe secondarily, right, or something as well, right? If you know, hearing about my attempt to pay for subscribers does not sit well with you, I don't know. Maybe that button's there for a reason. Like, hit the thumbs down button. I'd be okay with that. Yeah, put that out there, make myself vulnerable in that way. You know, like if you're a real subscriber and you follow, or, you know, right, and forgive me, the thumbs down if this, you know, notion of paying for subscribers, the fact that I did it, you know, doesn't sit well with you. But that's it. You know, there's my confession, my apology, my public service announcement. Keep working hard. Be your true self. And yeah, I don't know. For me, it's a rainy Friday, but you enjoy yours. Have a great weekend. I'll try to push out some content to probably one of my channels over the weekend, you know, but otherwise I will see you Monday morning. Have a great weekend. Take care.